Level 1. The Knight. You did something good. Maybe you fought in a war. Maybe you discovered something important. Maybe you donated enough money to the right people. Either way, the monarch looked at you one day and said, "Yeah, okay, you get a title." And they tap a sword on your shoulder, and now you're Sir Whatever. Congratulations. You did it. Except here's the thing nobody tells you. Your kids get nothing. Your grandkids get nothing. The moment you die, the title dies with you. It's not hereditary. You're not starting a dynasty. You're not building a legacy. You are a limited edition drop, and once you're gone, you're gone. You're the temporary tattoo of the British nobility system. And look, don't get it twisted, being knighted is genuinely a big deal. Sir Elton John, Sir Paul McCartney, Dame Judi Dench, these are not small names. But in the actual noble ranking system, knights don't even hold noble status. You're recognized, you're celebrated, and then you're quietly placed just outside the velvet rope. You can hear the party. You're just not on the list. Level 2, the Baron, you made it. You are now the lowest rank in the British peerage system, and somehow that still sounds impressive because the word peerage exists. Baron. You have land, you have men, you have a seat in the House of Lords and actual political access to the monarchy. In medieval times, barons were genuinely powerful. Big landowners, military leaders, people who shaped the country. The Magna Carta? Yeah, barons pushed for that. Barons checked the king's power in 1215. That's not nothing. That's actually insane. But today you hold the title mostly as a form of prestige. You show up to events. People address you correctly. You exist in a tier above regular people in a way that's hard to explain but very easy to feel in a room. You are the entry-level corporate hire of British nobility. You got your foot in the door. Now you just have to survive long enough to move up. Level 3, the Viscount. Nobody wakes up and says, "I want to be a Viscount one day." Nobody has a Viscount poster on their wall, and that's not even shade. It's just the reality of being sandwiched between Baron and Earl in a ranking system where everyone's looking either up or down. The word Viscount literally comes from the Latin for deputy count. You were created to assist an Earl. You were the assistant to the regional manager. You were the guy who handled things when the main guy wasn't available. Historically, Viscounts had real political responsibilities like governing large regions, acting as local representatives of the king. But over time, the role became less about actual administration and more about status. Which, fine, status is something. But there are so few Viscouncies left in Britain today that you're basically a rare collectible at this point. You are a limited edition title that nobody is actively trying to collect. You are the forgotten middle rank, and you have made peace with that. Probably. Level 4. The Earl. Earl is one of the oldest noble titles in Britain, and honestly it sounds the coolest. It just hits different. The rest of Europe went with Count, but the English looked at that and said, "No, we're keeping the Germanic word from before the Norman conquest, thank you very much." That's so specifically British it actually hurts. Historically, earls governed entire counties. They commanded troops. They shaped English politics at the highest level. Some of William the Conqueror's most important allies were given earldoms as a reward for their loyalty and military service. You weren't just a landlord, you were a power player. And the female equivalent is countess, which, if we're being honest, sounds even better than earl. Your wife technically has the cooler title, and you both know it. Today, an earl outranks a viscount but sits below a marquis, which means you're solidly in the upper middle class of nobility. You are not at the top, but you are absolutely not at the bottom. You have arrived at the part of the party where the good snacks are. Level 5, the Marquis. A Marquis ranks just below a duke and was traditionally responsible for defending the kingdom's borders, places called marches, which were the dangerous, always under attack frontier zones. Scotland, Wales, foreign invaders. If something bad was going to happen to England, it was going to happen at the borders first, and the Marquis was the one standing there going, "Yeah, not today." This was not a comfortable job. This was not a signing documents in a warm castle job. The borderlands were volatile and violent, and you needed serious military force just to hold the line. Because of this, a Marquis had more authority than an earl. You weren't just managing a county, you were managing chaos on the edge of the kingdom. You were the goalkeeper of England, and everyone else got to play offense while you stood in the rain protecting the net. Over time, as wars with Scotland and Wales settled down, the military role faded, and the Marquis became more about status than duty, which is either a promotion or a demotion, depending on how you look at it. The female equivalent is Marchioness, which is genuinely one of the best words in the English language to say out loud. Level 6, the Duke. The Duke. The title comes from the Latin word dux, meaning leader, and that tracks completely because dukes were not playing around. When William the Conqueror needed to reward his most trusted allies, he made them dukes. He gave them entire regions, vast land, enormous wealth, real political influence. The first English duke was created in the 14th century, and for a long time, only a handful of people held this title because it was that serious. Today, dukes are still the highest-ranking nobles outside the royal family. Duke of Edinburgh, Duke of Cornwall, Duke of Cambridge. These are not random names on a list. These are the people who are one step removed from the crown, and everyone in every room knows it. Your wife is a duchess, which is somehow even more intimidating. You walk into spaces and the energy shifts. You are not royalty, but you don't need to be. The Duke is the final boss of the nobility system, and you have fully accepted your role. Level 7, the Prince. Here's where the rules change completely. Princes are different. Princes are born. You don't climb to this. You arrive here. The royal family doesn't grant you entry. You are the royal family. The most well-known title is Prince of Wales, traditionally given to the heir to the throne. Historically, not every son of the king was automatically called a prince. The title was reserved for the most important members of the royal family, which means even within the royal family, there was a ranking system inside the ranking system. Hierarchy within the hierarchy. It never ends. Today, only direct descendants of the reigning monarch hold this rank. You were born on the right day to the right people, and now the whole country knows your name before you've done a single thing. No pressure, except all the pressure, every single day. Forever. Level 8, the King. You are the King, or the Queen, the ruling monarch of Britain. Once upon a time, this meant absolute power. Every aspect of government, the military, the economy, the fate of millions of people, all of it ran through you. Kings went to war. Kings signed death warrants. Kings built empires and watched them fall and built them again. The crown was not a symbol. It was a weapon and a burden at the same time. Over centuries, Britain shifted into a constitutional monarchy. The king or queen is now the head of state, but holds little real political power. The government runs the country. You represent it. You are on the currency. You are on the stamps. You are the face of 1,000 years of history, and every morning you wake up and perform that history for the world. There is always another ceremony, always another appearance, always another room full of people watching you exist. Outside these walls, millions of people live their lives. They argue about rent and scroll their phones and worry about their jobs. And you sign documents and wave from balconies and carry a weight that nobody elected you to carry, but that you carry anyway, because it was handed to you the moment you were born. You are the most recognized person in the country. And somewhere in that enormous palace, you eat dinner and the room is very, very quiet. So there it is. Every rank in the British nobility system, from the knight who built something real but couldn't pass it on, all the way to the king who has everything and somehow that's its own kind of cage. What's wild is that the higher you go, the less free you actually are. The knight at least goes home at the end of the day. The king hasn't had a normal day in his entire life. And it makes you think, which rank would you actually want? Because Baron sounds safe. Duke sounds powerful. But Prince and King? That's a life lived entirely in public. And I don't know if the crown is worth the cost. If you made it to the end of this video, hit that like button right now and subscribe if you want more videos like this, because there is so much more history to cover in this exact energy. I'll see you in the next one.